Hi everybody and welcome to this new personal English video lesson. Today I'm going to expand on fake synonyms, that is words that sound similar but actually are not, especially in terms of quite different meanings sometimes. Now I would like to get started from produce and product, which is far from being self-evident. Now, a produce is typically something natural and edible. So, for example, you will find it on salt or on milk and so on and so forth. By contrast, a product is artificial in the sense of man-made. So it will be a table, a jar, and so on and so forth. Okay, another example is I deeply know this and I know this in depth. So deeply and in depth. Again, apparently similar but actually quite different. I deeply know this is more about emotions. By contrast, when we talk about something in depth, what we mean is like intellectual exploration. So this is about knowledge, properly speaking. Let's move on now to something rather interesting, which is the difference between change of mind and change of mindset. Now, if I change my mind, it's my opinion that varies about something, and it doesn't stay the same. But by contrast, when I talk about the change of mindset, what I change is my perspective on things more broadly. It is the way I look at something, not specifically, but generally the way I look at the world. Now, an overview or a review, again, quite different. Overview is something which is discussed in general terms, very broadly, just to give you the sense of the contents. So, by contrast, the review is, let's say, more a summary and at the very same time like an opinion on something. So it's, let's say, yes, an informed summary of the subject, and it's relatively shorter than the overview is. And this is something which is quite tricky for most people I know, the difference between perspective and perspective. Now, perspective in the first place is never used as a noun, but it's used as an adjective. For example, my prospective husband is the same as my husband-to-be. So this is an adjective and it's about the future. By contrast, the perspective, this is a noun, and it's a way to look at reality or at the world. Now, let's move on to very interesting pairs. On the one hand, we have terrific and terrible, and believe it or not, but if someone tells you that your English is terrific, this is not an insult. It's actually a compliment. So this is extremely positive. By contrast, yes, if someone tells you that your English is terrible, that is, I'm afraid, an insult. And finally, quite the same story with the difference between awful and awesome. Even though the root, the stem, the etymology is the same, such as in the case of terrific and terrible, and it comes from awe in the sense of marvel or astonishment. Awful is quite negative, so this pudding is awful is definitely not a compliment. And by contrast, this pudding is awesome, maybe more American than British, as like fantastic, and it's synonymous with marvelous and amazing. So this is just an introduction to fake synonyms. We have many more examples in English, but I hope that this very brief lesson today will prove useful to your English. Until next time, take care and be well. Bye.